wants to watch, but we'll do it. So the way this works on these roundtables, I know a lot of you have done this before, is we're just going to bring up the images one at a time, and we're going to critique them, and we're going to critique them together. Everybody talks, everybody comments. I'll see Bobby's on the far left, and Michael's on the far right. Is that true?
Not for Bobby, that's for sure.
Oh, no.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Liberals.
Not with that guy sitting next to her.
So we'll just randomly pick orders to go in, okay?
Okay.
So let me bring up the images.
There was no theme or anything for tonight, was there?
Nope, no theme. It was your choice. This has been black and white film week for me. I've been developing and scanning film like crazy. I'm finally all caught up. So,
That's going to be a relief.
yeah, well, at least I got to get the negative put up somewhere on the second floor in case we get flooded next weekend. But that's all I got to worry about. So, Carl, goodness, you popped up first.
That's the best looking picture I've ever seen in the Arcanum.
It is. I really have to agree with you.
Yep. Very talented young man there.
Yeah.
That's a very old picture, so I'm willing to take all my hits.
All right.
It was very windy and those lines are blurred.
Well, I'm not noticing blurry lines, but I am noticing sharpening artifacts. See the white line coming down the edge here of this black line?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. But that's okay. Although that's a pretty big.
Oh, yeah.
No, not the dust spot.
Oh, yeah. Dust,
I think it's on the glasses.
dust spot. Actually, that's not too bad. Those are just, oh, there's a big one.
Oh, shit. You said just put some pictures up.
That's it. Two little ones and one big.
Not pictures of dust spots.
There's
Yeah, that was my full intention.
Oh, okay. Now I'm just dragging your butt, man.
And my butt's been dragged by my wife today.
Well,
Uh-oh, what'd you do, Carl?
I was in the doghouse.
well, better you than me, man. Boy, I love the composition of this, Carl.
Yeah, I just decided to look up.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes it's the things that we never look at that are kind of interesting. You know what I'm saying?
Next time we get a rainstorm, I'd like to redo that.
Mhm.
Compose it a little differently and a little better.
I wonder how it'd be if you moved over between the two power runs. You know, because you got another set of runs over here on the left.
I don't know. Isn't that complicated a little too much?
I don't know. It might be fun to play with.
Yeah.
It might be fun to play with. But okay, Bobby, we're going to start with you.
Okay.
Let him have it.
I,
Good, bad, ugly.
no. I don't think it's ugly. I actually like it a lot too. I like the clouds. But I want him to move over too and get between the two sets of the lines if that's possible, because I want something down in that bottom right part of the picture.
Yep. Great minds there.
That might be a little more difficult logistically. There's a,
I was gonna say there's like something there to keep you from doing that.
I think it's a boulevard or a street or something, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, that'd be
You're
kind
not
of.
willing to be run over for your photos, Carl?
Hey,
Don't stay
I
in
live,
traffic, Carl.
I live for my passion.
Yeah, I like the processing in black and white. And I love the fact that the leading lines are swooping down and back up. It's like I want to throw something over and just, ride the lines.
Yeah.
It really draws you in. The leading lines of this are very, very powerful. I think you did an excellent job on this. Who's next after Bobby? That would be Jimmy, yes?
All right, so I can't see the whole picture because of the blocks of our faces. So is there nothing in the right-hand corner? Is it just open?
Yes.
Okay. So to me, it's not quite symmetrical. And I would crop those posts out on the lower left and take a step to the right and see if I could get the left line to match a little bit closer to the lower right line.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I mean, it's certainly abstract enough that you could put it up and people would grab it. But
That's doable.
I mean, you could clone those lines out on the lower left pretty easily.
Or you get rid of them, or copy them over here.
Yeah.
Or,
Well,
or you could point the camera down more and make them more obvious. Like right now, it looks like they were kind of an accent in the left-hand corner. Whereas if you showed a little bit more of them, if you could without too much crap underneath them,
Yep.
I think that they would feel less like an accident and more like it was on purpose.
I think then we get into a more of a cityscape type situation where that doesn't fit the picture at all.
Oh,
Yeah.
building.
Commercial buildings, et cetera, traffic, all that stuff.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Yeah, this is not Canada here.
Well, then try down the center, or
Yeah.
do as Jimmy suggested.
Jimmy's suggestion is very doable. I could see that because that's just 2 steps to the right.
Yeah.
Yeah, then point the camera towards the center of the towers. Yeah.
Okay. Or you clone these, copy them over here, and mirror them.
Yeah.
That looks cool, actually.
That would look cool, wouldn't it?
Carl,
No, rare. Yeah, go ahead.
that absence of cloud at the very top bugs me.
Right here.
Yeah.
What was that in color? Oh, yeah, it's a sunlight. That's a blue sky, actually.
So
I
I
remember-
usually clone
I had a-
cloud in there or crop that off.
Yeah, I agree with you there. This is about, oh God, it seems like a year and a half, 2 years ago. You know how rare it is to get clouds like that in LA?
Yeah.
God, we finally got some weather and bingo.
Yeah, and your processing on the clouds is just perfect. They're full of mood. They're not grainy, even though they're. And look, there's face. There's a woman's face.
Yeah, I see it too.
All right. Smile, eyes, hair. That's pretty cool. Michael.
You muted, Mike.
Before I comment, Carl, on your picture, Jimmy, you can click that hide participants button up top and then see the whole picture. But Carl, I love this picture. It really kind of suits my my eye. You can see a story kind of coming out of it, maybe like some War of the Worlds type of visual with the tall aliens and their tentacles reaching out to grab something that we can only imagine.
Thank you.
I think if you went a little bit, you know, as we're looking at it to the right and got yourself centered in between the two larger ones, and then maybe is just a little bit bringing those ones behind the two larger ones in, it kind of looks like they're all kind of marching in line towards you, you know?
Yeah, I see.
And just straightening it out a little bit. And I also like about the clouds, you didn't overdo the clouds, because with those kind of clouds, it's real tempting to really overdo it on the structure on there. And I think you got right up to the edge, and whatever you did there didn't go too far. So I like that.
Thanks. This was a lot of dodging and burning on the clouds. Like that, this is early in my processing, so.
Mm-hmm.
And I also like how you've got the darkness of the towers with the brighter area of the clouds behind them. So it really makes them pop.
Yeah.
Michael, when he first put this shot up, I thought it was one of yours.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I can't see the detail or anything, you know, with the, you know, like you were saying with the lines, but it just reminded me of something you would do.
Yep.
I like it. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and it's good. Now, if you were to redo this shot today, since you said this is old, I take it that your processing would be a slightly different recipe then?
Yes. Yes, vastly.
Okay. All right. Did everybody get a chance? Did I forget anybody?
Yep. This is mine.
Oh boy, another black and white. I just love black and white work.
This may be a place we want to visit for if we do another workshop.
Uh-huh.
This is Wakulla Springs, which is right down the road from our house. This was an early morning an 8 a.m. boat ride, and I know a ranger, old ranger, just retired.
Yeah.
I
like this.
I like the detail.
This was shot from the boat. Like I said, this was one of the photo clubs here put this out for us and said that this was being done. So it was only really a photographer's boat ride. And so we left and went down the river a little bit and then came back up and over. And so it's really more of a kind of a birding trip, but you actually get a lot of this. And so I was trying to figure out how to pull off a Clyde shot. So from everything I've looked at Clyde, where it's an open sky like this, he does a lot of, seems to be overexposed by a stop or two in the sky. So you get a lot of the standout, and then the shadows, kind of the darker areas will come out. You raise it a zone or two up in exposure. That way you get the like behind the tree back there, it would be, you know, the tree itself is probably a zone 4, 3.5 from the side. Right there where the cursor was, and over in there is dark, you know, so. But I just like this little tree, the stump leading out of it. Shot handheld from a boat.
Oh, so that was my next question. Yeah, did you have to sit on a boat, or were you able to get to shore for this?
Handheld from the boat.
Okay. Well, I like this. I'd like to attack this with film. I wonder how deep that water is.
Right there, probably not too bad. Where we were off in the channel a little bit. Behind it is the main channel between those two cypresses.
Do you think you can wade here?
If the state park would allow you to do it.
Yeah.
Better to ask for.
Oh yeah. But you know, it's one of those things where the guy driving the boat was really very photographer friendly.
Yeah.
And slowed down and made angles and backed up and did stuff for us. And so, you know, and it's a big stable boat.
Oh, I really like this. Your post processing on the trees is very, very nice. This is on your A7?
Correct.
Okay. Did you experiment with the color filters and silver effects when you converted it?
No, when I did it, I did put the colors, went through the click of the lenses,
Yeah.
and I just didn't like. I went with the silver. I just didn't like what any of them had done to it. And again, like I said, I know I overexposed quite a bit, so that may have affected it some.
Well, if you had in silver gone down and selected that green filter, it would give you a slight difference in the colors and textures of these trees. So this tree is a little bit lighter. This is a little bit darker. A little bit darker yet, a little bit lighter, a lot lighter, and then we go slowly towards darker. A green color filter would have given more differentiation between these colors.
Okay.
Would have darkened the sky a bit. Would have done a thing for the water. But it might be worth experimenting with so that you can see what it is that those filters can achieve for you during a black and white conversion from a color image. I like the treatment of the water. The reflection's well done. The composition's perfect for what you tried to do here. With the tree and the reflection, and you didn't center it. I like the fact that there is separation between these two trees. I mean, we got to zoom in a bit to see it, but it's nice. Yeah, I would have a ball at this location.
Yeah, this is a pretty easy in and out. If we want to do another workshop, I can start making some calls and talking to them about an early morning boat ride.
Yeah, I think we'll plan for one in 2018. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. Lovely. Bobby, you don't get to comment first. We're going to go all the way over to the other side.
Okay, good.
I believe that's Michael.
Okay, so Mark, I like your feedback about creating a little bit more contrast in that background to kind of bring forward that subject there.
Yeah, the stair steps. We're looking for
yeah, exactly.
Stair steps to draw us in. Right.
But now I'll just throw a complete curveball. I just kind of turned my laptop upside down, and this could make a heck of an artsy fartsy image if you completely flipped it and then cropped off at the trunk of the real tree and just used the reflection as the image. But anyhow, that's a wild comment, but great. I love the image. It's a great picture, great subject.
Oh, we can do that. And where would you crop?
I'd crop it a little more than halfway up.
Like right about here?
No, more than halfway up from the bottom.
Stump.
Yeah, right at the bottom of the real stump.
Yeah.
Oh, here.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
That's a fun idea.
Yeah, right about there.
Well, we're going to find out.
Maybe you have to go a little higher on the crop. It looks kind of strange.
Yeah. Although I see where you're going with this.
That's interesting.
Now, when you blew it up, it looks a little hard to tell what's happened.
Yeah.
But that looks like the kind of tree or subject you can really work for quite a while.
Yeah.
All kinds of angles. You got killed by the sky there.
Well, it was a gray sky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so there wasn't a whole lot, but honestly, if you look at a lot of Clyde's, like I was saying, a lot of his stuff, his sky is overexposed. It's like he brings it up a zone or two.
Well, believe it or not, Ansel did that a lot too.
Yeah.
I try really hard not to do that. Cloning in clouds here for artsy representation would be very difficult because you'd have to clone them in the reflection.
Yeah.
That is a very interesting comment, Michael. I actually appreciate that. So who's beside you? I don't get to see you guys now on sharing.
Linda.
Linda.
I really like it, James. I think Michael's suggestion is interesting, and I don't know if you're artsy-fartsy to do it, but I would play around with his suggestion. I guess my suggestion is I think there's just a little bit too much sky. I might go for a non-traditional crop and just crop like maybe half that sky off.
Yeah, I was trying to even it between, the reflection and the top of the tree. And I did crop some, but, I just wanted to make it even between the top of the reflection, the bottom of the reflection and the top of the tree.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Here comes the woo-woo. Yep.
Ooh, I kind of like it in sepia. I don't know if I'd pick that exact conversion. But.
Well, just go through the recipe. Yeah, but that doesn't do anything for the sky. Now that I like.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And you can
that.
Yeah.
Not that one.
This is a really good image for texturing.
Mm.
Yep, that's it.
Right there. What is that? Peeling paint?
Mm-hmm.
That
Peeling
really makes
paint.
reflection pop.
Yeah, and it framed it too.
Yeah. It also kind of deals with what Linda was commenting on about the sky with that vignette.
The top one works too. So yeah, Jimmy, maybe you should re-engage the woo-woo.
I touched on woo-woo some, not here, but you got a woo-woo from me.
James actually did
All right.
pretty well on
Yeah.
his woo-woo, even though it's not his first choice.
Yeah. Well, this image has incredible possibilities. You can do any number of things with this. But like I said, the ultra white, I'm not a fan of this, but all of the photographic greats throughout history have done this. All right, so you can't always go on what I say.
So it's my channeling of Clyde Butcher.
All right, how is he recovering?
He's out shooting digital at the Mayako River Walkway. Takes a stroller out there and sits on it and shoots digital with his A7.
Okay. All right, who's next?
Carl.
I think the fact that you took this picture handheld in a boat is worth a trophy. The detail in the leaves are just extraordinary.
Carl, come on, he's shooting a Sony A7 R2.
Not another Sony
It's
file.
the most advanced camera in the world. There isn't anything it can do.
I didn't cuss you out.
Well, we weren't
You had
going super
to
fast.
say the S word.
Yeah, I did.
We weren't going super fast.
That's all right. I just ignore certain things and I tend to survive this class.
Yeah.
But yeah, the detail is extraordinary, even though you use an S-word camera. One part that bugs me is, but it got fixed, and I'll explain that better. The first thing that leaped out for me as soon as I saw this was, oh my God, the tree's damn straight into the middle of the picture. And then I caught the reflection, but the reflection and the tree looks like a big, huge pole. Compared a stick figure compared to the rest of the image. But then when Mark, the sky doesn't bother me, but I think that Linda's right. It's a little too much sky or something. But when that big net came through, it really balanced the picture out. It showed the center, and it took and it made the horizontal work, and it made my pole work. But that's just my thinking, the way I see things. I even thought about seeing how this would work as a not as a vertical, but as a landscape. And it may not be feasible.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
hard to do that because of the reflection. I didn't want to lose
Yeah.
the reflection.
But other than that, like I said, it's damn. I wish I could take a picture of that sharp
You buy
when I get my new N-word camera.
There you go. Yeah, are you going to buy that N-word?
Yeah, as soon as I make sure that it's not going to go in recall in the first month.
Well, I mean, that happens. You just never know. In fact, I can't think of a single major camera rollout that hasn't had a problem right off the bat.
Are you
Yeah,
buying 50, Carl?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe in the springtime.
All right, Bobby.
Well, being
Now,
that I was
Bobby-
there when that was shot.
What?
I was there when he took that one. I really like it. I don't have a problem with it. The sky is just really beyond white. I don't know how to say it. It's just super bright for me, and so I have a hard time looking at the rest of it because I feel like I'm, looking at so much white at the top.
Yeah, it draws your eyes to it, doesn't it?
But overall, I mean, I absolutely love this one, and I think it's going to look really great on canvas because I think it'll help tone down some of that white. And then there's a line off to the left in the back, and I know it's just a reflect. Yes, that I can't stop looking at that.
Yeah.
And it's something in the water that's like a fish jumping or something that's made a ripple there, but it's like a white line.
It's a stick up that's got weeds on it, that illweed, the illgrass.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Because this is where we see the manatees.
Yep.
It's dragon claws sticking out of the water.
But when from here, it's kind of it just bugs me.
Okay. That's what this is all about. Yeah, Jimmy, I really think that you should consider evaluation for texture for this.
Oh yeah. Well, I've already wrote peeling paint down on my desk here.
All right.
And so here's an interesting thing. The stick up at the end of the stump on the far left, just in the white part of the water. Nope, come down. Come down.
Yeah.
Right here off to the side.
Yeah, at the end of that stump. Does that bother anybody?
I didn't notice it till you pointed it out.
Yeah, I didn't notice it either, but it's an easy fix.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna clone that out. It bugged me this whole time sitting here looking at it.
Okay.
James, I would probably clone it out of my photo, but it's not like, wow, it ruins the photo for me.
Yeah, no, it bugged me the whole time sitting here looking at it.
But I
This,
find it funny how it takes someone else to open your photo for you to see something you hate.
this little dark spot here, make it go away too. When you print this, that dark spot's going to be huge.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Everything else looks. That needs to go away.
That's an ibis.
It needs to go away. I don't care if it's a bald eagle beak. It's too bright and it draws your eyes to it.
What is it?
It's an ibis.
As in a bird?
Yeah,
I don't see it.
right there. That's an ibis.
Oh yeah, I can't tell that it's anything other than a white spot.
Yeah.
I'm with Mark on that one.
Yeah, ibises were everywhere that morning.
All right. Another thing, run a very, very, very slight define on it and take this crane out of the water. You will be really happy with that being smoother.
Okay.
In fact, you can just do a selection and just select around the water itself and leave the trees out of it. and just refine just on the water, so it doesn't take away the wonderful texture in the trees and the leaves, and especially here. This texture. So now, if you do texturize it, then this grain probably won't matter a whit. Okay.
All right.
All right. I love this, Jimmy. This is a good image.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Yeah.
Oh.
Ooh.
What happened to Mike's picture? You missed one.
No, it
Okay.
pops up over here on the end, and I don't want to go that way.
Oh, okay. This one's mine. So this was about 15 minutes the other side of the lighthouse you like so much, Mark, the one in Cape San Blas. I mean, Port St. Joe.
Yeah.
This is on the other side of that. We had to go to Panama City last week, and on the way back, we just took the long way home and driving along and kept looking and finally just pulled off the side of 98. And this was the composition. We literally pulled off the side of the road. This was shot down on the beach, which is, 20 feet from the road.
Oh, wow. Great find.
It was just one of those that worked well, and the way I got this to look as moody as it looked is I did a high pass on tonal contrast, I believe, in Nick.
Okay.
And that's the reason it darkened it up and made it look this. That's how I got this look. It was a high pass in either tonal or had to be tonal.
That really worked well.
Yeah, when I did it, I was like, oh, well, and I kept going back to it, and I was like, well, that's it. That's going to work. Shot with a polarizer on it. And I focused on the dock. I actually was trying to put my focus, use the electronic viewfinder on the dock there.
All right, now stop right there. How high are you off the water here?
Height, standing height, 5 foot.
But we were up on the top part, though, weren't we, honey?
No, you were on the top part.
Oh, okay. This is you on the bank.
Let me ask you a question, and only you can answer this. What would have happened if you'd have gotten down and put the camera at ground level?
The beach is really ugly.
Yeah, but
there's all kinds of fish and stuff swirling in the water right there. Actually, we watched a sea turtle bob up and down kind of right there in front of us. Okay. So I was trying to get out from some of that noise in the ugly beach.
Okay. Yeah, I was just trying to see if there was some way to isolate the dock from the tree line in the background.
Yeah, I just don't know that it would have worked as well for the,
Yeah, well, if it had an ugly foreground, you're right. That everything's a compromise. All right. Gee, let's start in the middle this time.
Carl's in the middle?
Yeah, as close to the middle as we're going to get.
Okay. Looks like I'm alt right, though, from here.
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty picture. Look great on the wall, add color to a room, and you stare at it and you go, God, I wish I was there and not here. And that's what a picture should do, in its simplest forms. The brights look really cool, and the shadows look really cool too. The trees and the bridge kind of do blend in a little there, but what the hell? It's a nice picture.
Nothing to be done for it.
Yeah.
We have a term for that, Carl.
What?
We say that the picture sucks.
As in Kmart picture?
Yeah, no, it just
nothing like that.
It sucks because it's in his portfolio and not ours. Okay. That's an ultimate nice thing to say about someone's picture. Linda.
James, what's your favorite part of the photo?
What?
What's your favorite
part? Truthfully, this photo doesn't do a whole lot for me. It's not my traditional sunrise sunsets. I like the bridge. I mean, I like the dock coming out in the water. I thought it was a good composition. We stood there and watched a lot of the sunset, this for a while. And I took several photos, different I like the clouds in it. It's kind of the reason I threw it up here is I wanted to hear what other people thought of it.
Okay. I just asked because I hate it when people make suggestions when that's not what you were wanting. I feel like there's too much yellow, and what I really like is the stuff in the middle. Yeah, kind of what Mark's doing. But I don't know if I'd go that far because I like the cloud with James too. I think I might just make it a 16:9 crop and ditch some of the yellow on the top and on the bottom. But I love that middle. Like, I love that pinky blue that's going on in the middle, and I think some of the yellow takes away from it.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe a panorama might work well too.
Hey, I don't like that you're cropping the top of the cloud, but yeah, I like where you're headed with your
The one thing I did like is you kind of get the reflection through the picture, so you get the sun, and then it comes down to it. That's the reason I shot it where I shot it, was trying to get the different colors in the water. But like I said, I threw this picture in
yellow. You don't have to get rid of all of it.
Yeah, I threw it in there just to see what other people thought about it, because again, this is not my traditional sunrise sunset picture, so
yeah.
It's very different. I really like it. It's not the normal style of image that we see from you, but there's a lot going on here. I guess we'll go to Michael.
Okay. At first, I wasn't crazy about this shot, Jimmy, but then it's starting to grow on me. I love the sky. First of all, I think the gold color is really what's mostly growing on me. I think there's something about it that's sort of like kind of strangely attractive. And I love the soft, whatever you did on the sky, how it came out soft but still contrasty. I love that effect. And I think there's a story about how the clouds are sort of obscuring the sun, but it actually is visible in the reflection as the ball of orange there.
Mm-hmm.
I would want to maybe like bring that ball on the water out a little bit more to give some more, to tell that story a little bit more about it being hidden up top but revealed on the bottom. And then if there's some way you could match that softness of the sky on the water, because the ripples in the water are distracting because they're so different from the sky.
Right.
And you can tell that they're soft, but they're just not soft enough.
Yeah, I don't know how long this picture was that when I shot it. I don't remember how long, but I was trying to shoot the polarizer with that lead polarizer. It's fairly dark, and I was hoping I didn't want to put filters on because they really didn't need. I didn't think I needed a whole bunch of filter on it. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a really good point, Michael, particularly since James said when I asked him that he really liked the sun and wanted to emphasize the sun's reflection, that would help emphasize that.
Yeah.
Yep, it would. That was, obviously you struck a note in me, and I brought up my visa to see what it would do. All right, Bobby?
Well, I really like the whole thing. Again, there's too much foreground for what I like, but the rest of it, the clouds and the sky, it was really pretty night. So after this major rainstorm had come through, so I think it's really a nice shot. I want to see more of the purple up in the clouds there, and that gray just underneath the clouds. I really like the gray under there too. I just think that's really pretty.
Okay, a good comment. Did you have your NDs with you, Jimmy?
I did. I had the whole leads with me. I just put the polarizer on, and I didn't want to filter it down. And actually, this is probably, I don't know how long we stood there and watched this. But I didn't want to. I was really trying to avoid filtering a lot of it because I didn't want to get into long exposures and start dingling around. Right, it just didn't strike me as one of those compositions where I needed to filter, and the bright spot in the clouds, I just was going to chalk up. It's a sun reflecting off of a cloud. You know, that bright spot you were circling, it's a sun reflecting off a cloud, and sun does reflect off a cloud.
It does, but you see what happens because of this bright spot? You have this beautiful image here. Wonderfully composed, great clouds, good clear colors on the water, but our eyes are drawn right here. This is where our eyes go to. We will scan the entire image, but we end up here because this is so bright.
Area of highest contrast.
And that could be because of the contrast filtering that you did on it. All right. But even a one-stop graduated, that right here.
Right at the top of that cloud is where you to put it?
You got to put it right here. This is where the starting edge would be. And to darken this up just one stop. And then it wouldn't be so bright and our eyes wouldn't be drawn to it. Because I sit here and I look at this picture and I'm amazed with the compositional elements and the colors and the structures. But every time I end up here.
Okay.
And I know you didn't want to do a long exposure, but this is 1/6 of a second as it is. That's what I just went and checked.
All right.
Even going to a second, all right, would have been enough to have smoothed this out just a little bit more, which would have further enhanced the colors in here.
Okay.
All right. I'm not saying that this is a bad picture. It's just the opposite. This is a wonderful image. But as in all things image-wise, we can always come up with different ideas for improvement or different ways to look at it, different post-processing, which is why we do these roundtables, because we get input from everybody.
Yeah, no, it's the reason I put this image in there is because it's one of those I've done and I'm like, I like it, I don't like it, I like it. It's a love-hate relationship.
Yeah, see this red line across this cloud top here?
All right.
Well, I'd like to see more of that enhanced.
Mm-hmm.
Isolate this one storm right here. I mean, this thing's probably 40 miles away. All right, but just isolate that a little more to enhance this and maybe darken this cloud.
Okay.
But there's just so much in here. I'm amazed by all the elements in this one. I'd like to see you revisit this one and continue to work on this.
Okay.
Anybody else? Oh, all right. We'll go do that one. Oops, where'd it go? All right, I guess we won't. Let's pick somebody else. Linda. Look at this industrial scene. The overhead power belts. Tell us about this image.
Yeah.
So there's a place in Medicine Hat, which is quite a far drive and not a whole bunch between me and Medicine Hat, that I've been meaning to go to for a while. It's an old pottery factory museum. And basically, they've left all of this machinery in there. So on my way back from grasslands in Saskatchewan in July, I stopped here and I took 3 shots. And it's interesting, like a month ago, I couldn't have told you which was my favorite, but when I was picking photos today, I clearly like this one better than the other ones. So yeah, I really liked this shot. It was fun to take. It's actually color converted to black and white instead of infrared because I was inside. It's handheld. I probably should have gone and got my tripod. Richard's not even here to hear me say that, but it was really low light trying to shoot.
I love the choice of black and white. I'm not I can't quite decide what the central subject is, whether it's this cart or these pulleys, but both work equally well. This here is just a little bit distracting.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, I said okay.
I'm wondering if you'd taken 2 or 3 steps to the left, if you could have had the bottom of this start down here and come up.
I don't think so.
You don't think?
I understand what you're meaning. I just don't think it's physically possible.
Okay. Well, you know, like I said, these are all compromises, and we can't control the shapes and the structures in front of us. I like the depth of this. I like this machine here. We go further back. We've got this big wheel here. I'm not even sure. Are these ladders, or is this some sort of a big gear?
Honestly, I was majorly in photograph mode when I was there. I wasn't even reading the signs. I couldn't tell you what this stuff was. It looks like a ladder to me.
Oh, this is just an amazing location. Look at the detail in the bricks that you have back here. This is a dark area. And look at the structure in this big gear here. We can see all of the teeth. You did a really good job on the exposure with this. Let's see what everybody says. Bobby, why don't you go first?
I really like the like you were saying, Mark, I can see all the gears. I like I mean, everything just kind of draws me to those circles, you know, the wheels at the top and the wheel all the way in the back and the wheels on the little cart in the front.
Yeah.
I just really, that's what I'm looking at. The slat there on the side, whatever that wood board thing is, doesn't bother me too much. But I really, I mean, just love this picture. I don't have anything, you know, criticism-wise to offer. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, and I don't think it would be nearly as good if this cart was left out. This is just really cool being here. You should have gone over and carried this big old iron wheel over and put it on top of the cart, huh?
It's pretty cool, and it's left pretty much like when they walked out. But you can't. There's a little boardwalk thing, so you can't just go anywhere.
That is really interesting, Jimmy.
Black and white is beautiful for this. My only statement would be the front pulley, the bright spot on it.
Here.
Yeah. Would be to see if you could tone that down a little bit to come closer to that second pulley. I know there's light coming in that way. You can see it in the shadows, but it's a white spot in a gray, you know, in the picture. The far wheel, and I was even trying to think, well, could you turn the crop and crop it in a little tighter? But that far wheel against the wall there, in the hole above it, in the wall that you can see that texture, absolutely add to the picture along with that open door. You know, so you're standing there, you know, looking at this and that door, and I look at the doorway a lot, and I like the doorway every time I look at it. And so I love this kind of stuff. This to me is a beautiful place and a great picture. And the fact that you handheld it again and got all this detail and the crack in the floor, you know, the front crack here in the floor that you can see the detail in all the way through the picture is amazing to me. I mean, you know, your argument on that could be, I don't really need a tripod. Look at the detail I get. You know, why do I need a tripod? Oh, you shot it at 8,000 ISO.
Want my tripod at
8,000.
that point in time.
8,000 ISO. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, you know, in 8,000 ISO in a picture like this, you can get away with some because the texture, the grain is going to add to the texture.
Yeah, it's grungy, like you said.
Yeah. So, I mean, I love it. I would just try to tone down that front wheel just a hair.
Yep.
Just because that's the first place my eye goes to every time I look at it.
Yep. Don't you think that the door should be toned down a little bit too?
I don't know, because the outside wall is bright, and so you know. So my mind makes that say there's light coming from your right through the building, and then the building looks like it may be low out there, and so there's a bright light shining over the building and hitting that wall there. And so it doesn't bother me in that justification of looking at it. If you toned it down too much, I don't think you would get the separation of a door.
Okay, yep, makes sense.
You know, so I like it being bright. You know, there's going to be bright and dark spots in this. The board that holds that pulley, it doesn't bother me as much, and part of that is probably the tone and texture on it. You know, I can see the boards and I know that what they are, and it works for me. I love it.
Don't you, when you're looking at this white spot on this wheel, don't you think that this adds a certain amount of three-dimensionality to separate this wheel from this one?
Yes, but I still think it's bright. And even the beam above it to the right of it, like looks like they're right there. That looks just a hair bright compared to the rest of it. And yes, I mean, unless you know that there's a wall missing behind you and it was a bunch of light coming in through a big door or something, it just, I think you have enough separation in the two pulleys to have the separation regardless if you tone it down or not. And you can't tone it down to the second pulley because the belt's creating the shadow.
Okay.
But I would look at maybe just that one spot. The rest of it, I don't know that you can find anything bad to it, and even those aren't bad by any means.
All right, Carl.
I love it. When I first saw this, the first thing I noticed was the range of tones that are just everywhere through this. My eye went to the upper right-hand corner, and I just studied all the shadows up in there. You got zones 0, 1, 2, and 3, it looks like. All in that right-hand corner. They're just magnificently processed. I think all the tones balance themselves out. Even the aforementioned bright wheel, I think that's balanced by the door. Not quite as bright, but it's balanced by the door. Okay. Also, that loft in the upper left-hand corner, I think that's completely balanced also with the pole in the center. I just love all the tones in this thing. And if you said the detail was from a Sony camera, I might have to convert.
No, it's a Canon, I'm sure, right, Linda?
It was my first 60.
That's a remarkable black and white. Love the tones, the detail. I love the balance of the tones. God, I'm jealous of this one.
Thank you. You guys are being too nice.
Okay, my turn?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I think this is a fantastic place, because one of the things I'm noticing that has always annoyed me about old places like this is there's always some sort of a sign of modernity in there, whether it's a light switch or somebody's put an extension cord somewhere or put up a sign somewhere. And this thing is completely devoid of anything except that time, you know, which is really cool. That's just an observation. I don't know if anybody else noticed, but that cart seems to me to be on rails, which means it was meant to only move around that curved railing and probably hauled only very heavy things,
Yeah.
which is also very neat. But I got a couple ideas for you, Linda. I think that the top portion of the picture has this natural vignetting going on with the darkness in the rafters. It kind of curves around. I think you might like if you kind of vignetted the bottom corners a little bit more to match that.
Okay.
Or maybe even just cropped off a little bit more, because it's very light. It's weighted light on the bottom.
Yep.
And you know how you commented about the door maybe toning it down a little bit?
Yep.
I would even play with completely blowing it out, because
Oh, like going completely white.
completely white,
Okay.
because there's so much going on here. And Mark's point is good. Kind of what is the subject, right? Well, to me, the whole thing is the subject, because there's so much interesting stuff going on. It's just fun to look at. But then you kind of imagine, well, shoot, now I want to go through that white light at the end of the tunnel and find out what's in there, you know?
Yeah.
But anyhow, it's great. Love it.
Good comments.
That's a very interesting observation, Mike, about the vignetting. That's a great way to put it. Did you shoot any IR here, Linda? You'd had to have a tripod for there. But
I had my IR camera and I did a couple outside of IR because it was one of those stupid bright days. But no, inside I was having enough trouble getting the ISO and the color camera to work.
all right.
The irony was it was really busy in other parts, and when I was in here, I was actually all by myself. I probably should have just taken my tripod in.
Yeah, that's a great place. I would love to see this.
Yeah,
This is my 12mm too, so I'm fitting a lot more in than you could with like a regular lens.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if that was your 16 to 35, but it's a 12.
It's my 12 to 24.
what Canon is this? The camera?
My 60.
Okay. Yeah,
So
this
I double 60s now, right?
yeah. This is something that you should finish up on and print this one.
Thanks. Thank you for everyone's comments. I'm gonna play with that.
Whose is this?
Yo,
Yo, it's yours.
this is the Merced River. In all its glory. Not much to say about it. It's just a pretty picture. I was thinking about making a triptych out of it.
Well, this would work good for a triptych.
I think so too, about the fireplace.
Are you thinking horizontal or vertical?
Vertical.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, it's severely cropped from the original,
Uh-huh.
but I like the colors and the movement.
Yeah, you are getting very good movement. At first look, it almost seemed like these areas of the moving water were blown out, but you know they're not. It's just that we're intermixed with such darker areas. This is a very high contrast image.
Yeah, those are 9s.
It fools our eyes into thinking that these are 10s. Okay.
Yeah.
And they're not. I like this. The saturation's good. Do you remember what the exposure time was?
Oh God, no. That looks like 4 or 5 seconds.
13.
13?
Yeah, 13 seconds.
It's probably a 10 stop then.
Yeah, no, I like this. But when you're doing this, it's already a super high contrast image. Beware of these real dark areas of the rock, because it can take the contrast way, way down. And there, believe it or not, there is enough detail in there that you can bring that out. Oh, damn it. There's enough detail in there that you can bring it out simply by going in maybe even as simple as just adding structure there. Yeah, see how I'm bringing out?
Oh yeah.
It doesn't take a lot, and we'll shrink the circle down so we don't affect too much of the overall picture. And brings a slight, not a lot, just a slight amount of detail out here and in here. Look at that.
Yeah, that works.
All right. So you got to be real careful of that when you're working with an ultra high contrast image, which this is. Try not to leave any areas pure black, okay?
Yeah.
Boy, this is nice. I would have loved to have been here with you.
Yeah, it was right after a storm too. It was like a day or two after a storm. So the water was running pretty high.
Where exactly on the river were you? I mean, I don't recognize this.
Well, this was, okay, I gotta remember what it's called. On the right-hand side of the valley, you got tunnel view. On the left-hand side, it's called, the lower part before you go out the gate.
Yeah.
You look out into the valley.
Yeah.
I forgot the name of it, but that is this spot here. I was looking out towards the gate on the river.
Yeah, so much of this river is just, in the springtime, it's just too much water flow to be able to get down to.
Ah, that's true. When you were there, yeah.
But other parts, like, well, did you go up to Mirror Lake?
Yes, I've taken the walk.
All right, well, I drove up there.
Ah, the lucky one.
Yes. And right there at the parking lot, at the very end of the road, there's a bathroom. And if you go across the road, there's another little drop off to some wonderful areas of this.
You're exactly right. I know exactly where you're talking about, where the river gets really nice.
Yeah.
Like this. It runs in rapids like this.
Yeah, and it's easy access.
And Half Dome was right there behind it, and it keeps going up.
Yes, and I just don't know where you are to have gotten down this close to the river and been able to capture this. This is nice. I really like what you've done here. But like I said, it is super high contrast, which is good. But beware of these real dark areas. On a high contrast image, you don't want areas of pure black, okay?
What I like about it is, like, typical Yosemite thing, most people go into the iconic photos, including myself, and waiting for the weather and everything. And this is just something more detailed that, and I think it's really amplifies the park and how beautiful and pristine it is.
Yeah. All right, William, you get to go first, man.
Who's up first?
Michael.
Okay. You know what I think is kind of cool about this is you can't tell whether it's really like a melting spring snow in some rocky, frozen creek, or if it's actually water. And I think that's pretty cool because it does really look like snow. The only I love to doing the same thing, finding those like detail shots in foresty, woodsy areas and trying to make something of it. The only thing that bothers me a little bit about it is the blue in the top half. For me, it just doesn't seem to fit in because there's so little of it in the front half of the scene, and then it gets really blue. I think I'd try toning that blue down just a little bit.
Okay, I see that.
Or maybe brightening it up.
Yeah, because that's the actual color of the water. I don't know if it's that shade of blue.
I believe it, but it doesn't look. I don't know. It looks strange.
No, I understand.
Well, it's something like this, Michael.
Yeah, that's a little nicer, a little softer.
That looks like snow to me.
This section that's right on top of that bright rock in between the bright rock and the one that Mark was working on, that really looks like snow. It looks like crystallized, hard, crusty snow on top.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Okay. Linda?
I really like the subtle kind of S curve without like smacking you over the head S curve.
Yeah.
But this photo's begging to me to be tried in black and white. Did you try it in black and white, Carl?
No, I have not. I can see your line of thought, though.
I thought that too. A lot of good alternating contrast.
Well, and your strongest color in the image is the green bushes, and green bushes probably aren't my favorite. That's probably what makes me lean towards black and white. Yeah, I think I would like, I mean, you'd have to play around with it and see which one you work best, but I think I like this in black and white.
Yeah, that first image was striking.
There we go.
Now it doesn't look like snow.
You're absolutely right, Linda.
Mm-hmm.
But any good image in color should be processed in black and white also. You should make that part of your workflow. Okay?
Alrighty.
So
Yeah, I like that.
you get a good one in color and you get a good one in black and white.
Yeah.
Let's see. How about Bobby?
Looking at it, I already like the image in black and white much better. But I am not, this is a personal thing. I'm not a big fan of the long exposure on the water like that. It just has never been one of my favorite things. Like even when Jimmy does it, it's just not one of my favorites. But I do like the contrast of the rocks. I like the texture in the rocks. I like that, you know, when Mark brightened up the dark one in the back there, that big guy. I like that, you know, changing that and bringing that detail out of that. Other than that, it's a really nice shot. I mean, I don't love the long exposures.
Jimmy, we will get her fixed, okay? All right, we have an automotive shop that we can back her into. We'll give her a tune-up, and when she comes out, she'll be Miss Long Exposure.
She's not into it.
Don't fix Bobby. I like shooting with Bobby.
Yeah, she's not into it. You know what? I'm okay with it. You know, we get lots of different shots side by side. So,
yeah. Carl, I would have taken this photograph. I just wouldn't have done. I like when water is sparkly and it's clear and it just makes you want to get in the water. That's what I like. But I like the composition of this one. Like Linda was saying, the S curve doesn't beat you over the head with it. Like, oh, look at me, I'm a big path. But I do like that, how it's subtle and I like the different types of rocks. I mean, I know it sounds corny, but I like the shot. Otherwise, I just don't care for long exposure.
Good critique. Jimmy, you're last.
I have three simple statements, Carl. I like the black and white. That really doesn't count as my statement. There's three spots I would look at. In the first bright spot, come down, Mark. The little rock that's sticking up. Go up to the bright spot right there. That. Nope. Come down, and then to your wait, directly across from that 3 o'clock at the bright spot, not all the way across. Come back closer, keep coming. See this little brown spot right here by the little rock? Come up. 11 o'clock from there, Mark.
Oh, really?
Yeah. See that little spot right there? Clone that out. It's just one of those things that grab my attention, and I know what it is. But just to me, I don't like it. And these are all crazy. The bright rock in the center of the center of it, not that one, the one to the right of it. I would tone that down just a hair right there on that bright spot. And then the rock as it exits, see where the flow path comes down to the rock at the bottom, at the top of the picture, top right of the picture, Mark. Right. come down, come across a little bit to your right. The rock next to you, to the right, that one. There's 4 black spots on it. Looks like almost like a domino rock.
Oh yeah.
I would knock those out.
Wonder what that is.
I don't know what those are, but it looks like a domino.
They're holes. Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it might look better in black and white, but that just bugs me in color.
I want to know how the heck those holes got there.
Yeah.
Outside of that, Carl, I love the shot. I love the long exposure and dapple lighting like this was. It's hard to get good exposure. I've tried shooting dapple lighting, and I talked to Chris Almini, who was in this cohort before you came in, and Chris Almini does great waterfall work. And I spoke to him one day at length about shooting in dapple lighting, and his best advice to me was, good luck.
Did we lose Carl? I don't see him down at the bottom.
Oh no.
Yep.
All right. Well, he'll be back. All right. We'll move on.
I thought he was in the doghouse. Maybe his wife took him out.
Fine band to the head. Let's do the moonrise.
I threw this in here just for fun. Now I feel kind of regretful that I did because of everybody else's great pictures, but this was actually a mistake. But I thought it was a fun mistake. So we were out, some friends of mine and I were out in Pennsylvania during that, the Perseid meteor shower.
Yeah.
Watching meteorites, and I had the camera on a tripod, and it was toward the tail end of before we packed up and went home, and somebody had said, "Whoa, look at the moon!" And it was behind us because we were facing the other direction. We hadn't noticed it, so I turned around, and it was this beautiful sort of just orange, big orange moon coming up. So I pointed the camera at it, and I took this picture, and then I realized that the camera was completely covered in dew, including the front element of the lens. So this is through a completely dew-covered lens. That's why you've got this big halo effect around the moon down at the bottom. And I did a little bit of work adding some contrast to this sky, but that's pretty much how it came out in camera with that just kind of halo. Yeah, and you can see the stars up above it, but I just thought it was kind of neat. Happy mistake.
Like it. Actually, it almost, this little bit of clouds here, and I'm assuming that this is the dew.
Yeah, probably.
Almost looks like there's this flat cloud layer.
Yeah.
Keeping the dark sky up here clear and clean.
Mm-hmm.
It is different, and yet in the halo of the moon, this is huge.
Yeah.
Look at the size of this. Sometimes dew can really work to your advantage, can't it?
If I'd have known it was there, I probably would have tried to wipe it off.
Yeah, sometimes I get a fog-covered lens, and I'll purposely, go turn the camera around and shoot at trees. And,
yeah.
Okay, you can get some really interesting stuff. Is Carl back?
No.
No.
All right, Bobby, we'll start with you.
That's okay, Bobby. You can kill it.
I've made those mistakes, like I've taken a shot and I've been like, oh, wasn't expecting that. I don't love it. I don't know where to start with the actual critique kind of a thing, but it's just, from what I've seen you shoot before, that's just not you to me. And when I look at that, and so it's just not something I would like. I would see that in my own stuff and I'd be like, oh, delete. So I'm not really sure where to go with it.
Just dig deeper. Start at the top and work your way down. Or start at the bottom corner and work your way up across.
Mm-mm. No, I don't care for any of it though. Sorry.
I'm glad you're getting this on the video, Mark.
Oh yeah, it is on the video.
Sorry.
So now is it?
No, it's just not. I mean,
You don't have to be sorry.
Some of the
This
stuff
Bobby
I've seen
Hines he
you.
hates.
I'm going to help you, Bobby.
Some of the stuff I've seen you photograph before is just amazing, and
I
then
appreciate that.
and then this, it's just not you.
Now, so what bothers you about the image isn't so much the image; it's not in your visualization of the work that Michael normally turns out with his abstracts and.
Mm-hmm. That's what I figured out is I'm starting to like abstract more as I'm shooting more pictures, and that is, I don't know. I don't think that's the right kind of abstract.
All right, not everybody likes everything.
Yeah.
Jimmy.
Well, yeah, had the do not been on it, it would have been a very interesting picture. And for a night picture, and this was a great full moon rise. I mean, we were standing on the beach, and it was certainly better than the Milky Way and the meteor shower that night. I like the clouds in it. I like the position of the moon because of the light it gives to the house below it, whatever that structure is. I would assume a house or a barn. And I like the dark sky above it. The transition to the dark sky seems harsh to me. It does. The transition goes from light to dark almost instantly, not a gradual fade. I love the stars in it. The fact that you got stars in that much light, it was work to do. I like the natural vignetting of the light that it gives. If you did not vignette in the corners, in the lower corners,
yeah,
I like the light pattern of the moon that it provided. If the dew had not been on your lens, this would have been a very, I think, a really good night picture. The dew on it just makes it. I don't know if it's noise in it that just is still there, or if it is the dew stuff. It looks almost like.
Oh, I'm sure it's noise too, because I probably had the ISO cranked up pretty high.
Oh yeah. But I mean, it looks almost like in the left side where the light comes together right there in the middle. It looks almost like somebody spray painted, and it's just the overspray of the spray paint.
I'm sorry to have to put you guys through this.
Oh no!
I feel bad for Bobby. I think he might be traumatized.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
If you want to do some night shooting where you're at, I'll get this Mike, the guy I shoot with, has a muff that goes on his lens that you put little hand warmers in that keep this from happening.
Yeah, I've got a couple of those in the closet.
You got a couple of those?
Yeah, you can buy those from Kevin Adams.
Yeah. And so it keeps the dew from. That's how he does his long time lapses, and keeps the dew from setting on his lens. He keeps his lens warm.
Yeah, Michael, look up Kevin Adams photography, and he sells them. He makes them and sells them.
Yeah.
Can I say something nice about Michael's photo?
Oh, I thought you were gonna keep the theme going.
I said nice things. I agree with Bobby. Unfortunately, it's not the work. It's not the quality of work, Michael, that we expect from you.
I thought we were having a lighthearted roundtable here. I didn't know the knives were coming out.
I thought you'd captured some weird celestial event, Michael. So, what do I know about shooting stars, though? I would go super ultra abstract on this, Michael, and cut off the bottom, and just basically have that weird, funky cloud and the stars. And I'd emphasize both of them and let them fight it out. Weird, funky sky photo.
I see that.
The crop queen Linda speaks again.
Square crop, right? Just the clouds in the sky. And in the
Clouds in the sky. Yep.
Yeah.
And then you could say you wouldn't know if this was night or day. You could say it was sunrise and it was a foggy morning.
Yeah.
Yin and yang.
It reminds me of those images you see of like the video of when guys go into like suborbital space, and they're just leaving the atmosphere, and you can, you know, you're kind of in that in-between zone. Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Carl's back.
Carl.
Yeah, my computer had a brain freeze. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
You might have missed it, Carl, but everybody really loved it. They said it was the best one of the night.
You know, I've had that same feeling myself too. You know, I've never seen a better picture of the Arcanum in my whole life. You're a very talented photographer, Michael. I don't know what to think of this. This is not my favorite.
Thank you, Carl. Thank you.
Please expand.
It's Bobby's favorite. She wants it in a print exchange.
I remember the very first day I was on the computer with the Arcanum. It was a Roundtable, and I didn't know anybody from Adam on the bottom screen. And my ego came out of that lower than a penny. It was bad. I'm just not a fan of this at all. I don't understand the thought process. But then again, I didn't hear it. One thing I could say constructively is to the left of the sun, the telephone pole that could be coming out of there.
Yep.
You know, it's just kind of a little bit of an obstruction. But again, I missed the thought process behind the photo.
So you didn't miss anything. Don't worry about it.
Tough crowd.
I love you, Michael.
All right.
So you're not lost. It was kind of a mistake photo.
All right. Back to Jimmy.
All right, so this is another one of those that I threw in there just because the oyster boats here are becoming, you know, less and less accessible. They just aren't around much anymore. And there isn't a whole lot to this photo. I worked really hard on this photo trying to make it something out of nothing. It was a bright blue day. There's those clouds on the horizon, just above the horizon, or beautiful white clouds. You know, I just like the oyster boats, and I shoot them. I've started trying to shoot them more and more, and actually, a lot of it has come from one of the oyster boats I turned in from one of the prior critiques, and I printed it in 16 by 20, and I've fallen in love with it. It's one of my favorite pictures hanging on the wall. And so I've started looking at the oyster boats more and more, and there's only a couple places where we can get to them. And so, you know, there isn't a whole lot to this photo, and I know it. And so I just kind of wanted to age it and woo-woo it and see if I could do something that would look good. If I printed it, I would print it on canvas. And so I just took it in the topaz, and like I said, I know there's not a whole lot to this photo. There's nothing in this photo that stands out as, oh, you know, this makes this photo or whatever. So I just took it in the topaz to play with it and see what I could get. And I like it. I don't think it's one of the greatest photos I've done. It's just, I think it would look okay on canvas.
I don't know. Did you ever see the movie The Fog?
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of that. You know, this lonely boat sitting here in the water. And we have, I know it's texture, but this texture has a very foggy look to it. And like it's creeping in, and it's something dangerous comes hither, you know? I like the texture. I think it works. It gives the picture enough grunge to make it pleasing. And grunge is good when we're doing woo-woo. Okay, so this really works. But let's see what your wife thinks.
Oh man.
I didn't even call you Bobby.
No. Yeah.
Here comes Michael. Get ready. It's my turn.
Well, So what I do like about it is the topaz or whatever this is in makes it, I mean, for what the oyster boats are and what they look like, these are not nice to shoot. There's, they don't leave a lot as far as, any kind of beauty really. But when you grunge it out like that, as Mark said, I think that helps a lot. Otherwise, but I have a couple shots that are somewhat similar, and there wasn't one of them that I wanted to do anything with. But I don't also have topaz either, so maybe that might make a difference. But there's a thing right in the middle of the water, just above the bow of the boat. Yeah, that. I don't know what that is, but that I can't stop looking at that. And I think it's just from the topaz itself, but I don't know.
Okay.
It's bugging me.
All right. I have a thought for you.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to hold off on that. I have a question for Jimmy first.
Okay.
How come she doesn't have the plugins, my man?
We just haven't bought them and put them in her computer. Not like she doesn't have access to this computer.
You can't install all of these filters allow multiple installations.
Can we put them on her computer? Okay.
Yeah.
You need to find the key. The key. I know where the key code is.
All right. Now back to you, Bobby. Have you ever heard of the term wabi-sabi?
Only from you guys, but not in terms of shooting. Not anything prior to you.
Okay. There's a certain philosophy that things that are decaying have their own beauty. All right.
Mm-hmm.
It is an Oriental concept that's shared worldwide, and I can see now that down the line you're going to have a wabi-sabi assignment.
I remember hearing about this assignment.
Yeah, but that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't like everything, and we all have our own likes and dislikes. But I do feel that your overall critique of this one was good. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Carl.
Bobby, you got a friend.
Thank you,
Hold the
Carl.
mic. Here it comes.
Jimmy, it doesn't have. Just before we started this thing this afternoon, I too was working on a photo from this morning that was nothing and trying to, reaching for the stars, trying to get something out of it. So I understand exactly where you're coming from. I'm just not a fan of the special effects. It's just not my style and doesn't fit my brainwaves.
How's Carl gonna make it through woo?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know.
It's going to be painful.
Get their foot and mouth. But yeah, I guess I'm beginning to like it more and more as I look at it too. It's hard for me to comment on. I understand where you're at with it.
Carl, one way to look at this is when you have an image that you just can't figure out. I mean, you like the concept of the image, but the image doesn't do what you want it to do. That's when you would go into your textures and see if there's some way to pull out something artsy out of the image. And 9 times out of 10 it will work, but not every time. And
Okay.
I think that given the raw image here, I think that Timmy did a decent job on this, pulling out something that, believe it or not, printed on a really toothy or textured paper would just be stunning.
What I'd like to see on the boat, I understand, the old boat and all that good stuff, and I can appreciate that. But somehow the Johnson motor on it just doesn't fit the boat. I would like to see rows, what do you call it, things you row with, oars. And I know that's not feasible, but I don't know.
One of those old outboards that you had to wrap the rope around and pull to start it.
Now that would work perfectly, and it would fit with the texture of the sepia tone, a 50-ish type scenario.
Well, I think if we could take the boat and have gotten it from the bow instead of, the stern, I think that would have been a whole different shot. And he's got another oyster boat again, the boats they're not beautiful, but they're not supposed to be. They're work boats. And the other shot that he has looking at it from that direction is unbelievably gorgeous. But I think, Carl, you're right. I think it's part of it is that engine. Doesn't lend itself to that shot.
All right. How about you, Linda?
So if you're giving Carl texture appreciation class, you should probably because I just really struggle with texture photos, and I can get behind some of the hey. Texture, I don't know.
Woo, woo, woo.
That said, and I think James already called me the cropping queen, so I would crop some of the sky out. And I think if you can control the texture, I think it might be too close to the boat at the end of the boat. Like maybe just take it a bit back from where the motor is.
So the reason I did that is I matched it on side to side, the run.
Oh, okay.
And so no, I didn't. I was actually trying to soften the Johnson name on the motor. I wanted it to look less modern.
Oh,
okay. I purposely did do it that wide to try to soften that so it wouldn't look as modern. The motor wouldn't.
I wonder if a control point in the water just behind that to darken just that spot a little bit would fix what's bothering me. So you can still kind of hide the motor.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really like it coming indenting on the side where there's just water.
Okay. Michael.
Okay. I was really keying in on what everybody else was talking about the motor. I would just somehow maybe try to de-emphasize it a little bit more. Maybe even just cloning out the name completely, and just grunging it up a little bit more, maybe just to take the eyes off it a little bit. But I don't dislike this image at all. I think the clouds on the horizon are a little too hot.
Yep, they are.
A bit distracting. But did you use a polarizer on this?
Probably.
Okay, because if you look at the below the bottom of the boat, it looks like you can see the rocks in the water.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that a little more clarity on that, because I think that's interesting.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of oyster shells under it.
Is it?
Yeah, go back to the corner of the corner of the
that bottom left corner, Mark. Yeah, there you're starting to see it there.
Go up a little bit now. Go towards the boat. There, see it? Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, he's moored at the right place.
Yeah. It's just a bunch of oyster shells under it. But yeah.
This is what I like right here.
Yeah, I like that too.
I mean, right there, the picture.
Yeah.
I think it was a good effort.
Well, this motor's not as clean and pristine as you guys think it is.
No,
but it's
just that Johnson name was just glaring to me.
Yeah.
What about actually erasing the name?
That's an easy fix.
Yeah. Yeah, I can go back and play with it.
Shoot, I like that right there.
What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, I like the idea of cropping out some of the sky too. Then.
Okay.
And I'm okay to be called the cropping queen.
Hey, what you are. It's an affectionate term. Trust me.
Look, they could be calling you the tripod queen.
Well, that I would take offense to.
Jimmy, I'm a fan. Okay.
Yeah, these boats. I think we should need to look at these boats a little bit when we come down. This is a quick pull in place at any point, I think it could be a quick stop and wander around spot for a second or two.
Yeah,
I
because
got some fun shots there.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it really is something said about art. Okay, Michael.
Yep. So this is where am I?
Somebody got feed.
So this is a infrared shot, sunflower. Back, it's all right.
Is that me?
I don't know who it. Hello?
Bobby, say something.
Huh?
Wonder if it's
I don't have the control panel. I can't get people.
Try Jimmy or Bobby. Maybe that's one of you. Because Bob, maybe you guys are too close to each other.
Uh-oh.
But anyhow, so this is a sunflower that is between my lens and the sun, and it's the back side of the flower. And I just was feeling like I had not taken enough pictures lately, so I was compelled to do something. So I took this sunflower that was in the house outside and tried to make something with it. And it was it was my 70 to 200. I put an extension tube on it and got really close, and shot it with my color camera and the IR camera. And I just liked how this came out better. I just love the glow and the alternating contrasts and the texture on the yellow leaves. I think it works.
Yeah, it does. It's very detailed, very high key.
Mm-hmm.
And this is more in the realm of the work that we're used to seeing from you. But I want to see you work more out of the comfort zone too. All right. But particular image, this one's you. The detail of the petals, flower, wonderful. I like the contrast. We've got 1, 2, 3 separate steps.
I don't think it's
Light art. So it's polarizing, not from the price, not a kind of this thing on a cross. Let's see what Bobby thinks.
Oh, why am I on the hot seat again? I love it. I actually, this is what I'm used to seeing whenever Mike posts on Instagram and stuff. So this I love. I love the contrast. I love the white back there, but it's not so much that I'm just looking at that. And I love that you can see the little fine. You know, it's not hair, but it's like, you know.
Yeah.
I love that. This I would love to map that and frame it, and I would put that in my house. I love it that much.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Jimmy.
Unmute yourself.
printed on metal. Other than that, there's anything wrong about this. This is beautiful.
Thank you.
This is truly, like Bobby said, this is your niche, and I would love to see this printed on metal or a metallic paper, large. I wouldn't go any smaller than 24 by 18. That's
Okay.
all I got to say about it. It's beautiful.
All right. Carl.
Michael, do you normally take these type of pictures of the flowers?
I don't do flowers too often. No.
I don't either. I think it's a worthy try. Very pretty. I would like to see the light a little. I think the light's a little harsh, and I think it would be really great if you put a harsh light on the back side of them where it's seen through. But I don't know if the leaves are thin enough to do so, like the front ones there.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, yeah, cool. I don't do flowers either, but I've seen a lot like that, and there is a lot of detail in these things. Yeah, great job.
Thank you.
Okay. Linda?
I love this shot. I love this shot when I went to put my photos in the drive. But I do have a question, Mark.
Yes.
Why did you call this high key? Doesn't it have too much black in it for it to be high key?
No, well, you can't count this black background. This is our main subject, and the high key lighting is striking the subject coming above down towards the center of the flower.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Cool. We haven't gotten hobbies. I recognize this place.
Yeah.
This is a different angle.
It's white.
I don't know. What'd you say, Mark?
This is a different angle than I'm used to seeing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Normally we're over here.
No, we're on the other side.
Yeah.
We're here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we were out this was a night that we were out trying to do Milky Way, and we were kind of chasing it down from Cape San Blas, and this is Port St. Joe, the lighthouse that's there now. And you guys did do this at your workshop, so it should look familiar to you. And so I knew I wouldn't be able to get the Milky. There's so much light that you wouldn't be able to see the Milky Way, but I did like I just think that for the nighttime shot, that how bright that house was, and it was lit up, and this was like 4 in the morning, 3 in the morning, something like that. That it just, I don't know. I just really liked it when I took it.
Oh, it's a very pleasing image. It's well composed. You didn't put the lighthouse dead center. There is a lot of light on the back of the house itself, but that's okay. We're getting good detail and clarity in the tree line across here. From the horizon, we can see the stars. You have to remind me about this light. Does this rotate, or does the light just pulse on and off?
It doesn't. No, it doesn't. It's just on. It's constantly on. I don't think it rotates, does it?
It's either constantly on or it's a pulse light.
Okay.
It does not rotate.
Are there dividers in the house up here?
I believe so. But yeah, I mean, I believe they are there.
Well, this is a good long exposure, Bob.
Yeah, we were trying to do Milky Way shots, so.
But there were lights. I mean, the lights that we were competing with weren't just on the house. Over there on the left, there was a parking lot. And then right behind us was that restaurant that, had the bright lights on in the back part of it. So it was just, there wasn't anything you could do to me that I knew to do, because I'm still so new at this, to make this guy less so. I mean, so parts of it were just so burned out, even that late at night. So.
Well, no, I don't think anything's burned out in this. I think the exposure's dead on. It just works. The question is what to do up here.
Right. You can very, very just faintly make out the Milky Way over to the left up there. Yeah, that's where it was. Yeah. So I wasn't sure about the crop. I wasn't sure if I was going to even be able to bring it out. And so I changed it to black and white and played with it a little bit more, and then I put it away and didn't mess with it at all. So I think there's too much sky.
Well, in the future,
mm-hmm.
if you go down and revisit this light,
mm-hmm.
and go ahead and shoot the Milky Way, but I would like for you to try a very specific shot here on the lighthouse.
Okay.
This same angle is fine.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like you to increase the shutter speed to like 60 seconds. And see if you can get the beams of light,
Yeah.
like the spokes of a wheel.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the house up here, the lamp room, see, it's got the dividers in the glass.
Yeah.
So it will give beams, but that's going to require a very, very long exposure so that you build up those beams of light. Now, of course, if you have a little fog, it'll be easier.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Or a little bit of low cloud cover, that will help too. But no, Bobby, you did a good job.
I did what?
You did a good job.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
So, Mark, if you did that, then your stars would look funny. Would you take 2 photos? One of the stars sharp?
Because the beams of light come out at very high intensity. And they're going to pretty much blot out the stars.
Neat. That would look cool.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you go ahead?
Me?
Linda.
Linda.
I like the processing, Bobby. And as much as I'm the sky cropping queen, I kind of like the sky because it tells us a story that it's at night.
Mm-hmm.
I might try and darken down that very left bottom corner, just so my eye doesn't go there. But I like it. No, the very bottom, like these trees over.
Yeah. That part of the parking lot, there was such a big bright light in it. And I don't know how you would have not turned that in. So that would be something fun to play with.
The other thing I really like is this tree. It's almost acts as a secondary subject because it's kind of weirdly lit.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right. This has, I don't know if you guys or you, Bobby, have ever played video games before.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something about this processing that makes it look rendered. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
No.
I can't place it. I don't know why it looks that way, but it looks like computer generated that house.
It's the pale white.
You think that's what it is?
I
love the picture. I agree with Linda on darkening down that bright area underneath the trees, wherever that light source is coming from, just to sort of make it a little bit less distracting. And the only other thing I would comment on is the wide angle distortion that you might try cleaning up a little bit in something like the thing I use is it's a DxO.
DxO Mark.
Yeah, I forget the name of it, but it'll straighten out the perspective.
Oh, okay.
It works really well, and I think actually Lightroom, the new version of Lightroom has it built in, but I haven't found it or used it yet. You guys know what I'm talking about in Lightroom?
I don't, but I'm sure Jimmy or Jimmy.
I think Lightroom came out with something.
I don't use Lightroom at all.
No.
Good.
It's a neat picture.
All right.
Thank you.
Carl's out for a little bit. He's
All
sent text. I think, Mike, maybe the house is a gray, not a true white.
Mm-hmm.
Is that maybe what gives you the render feeling?
To me, it's the tree line that makes it.
Yeah, I think it just pops off of everything else so distinctly.
Well, it has a real three-dimensional feel to it.
So there's a light directly across from this tree in the bottom right, left-hand corner. There's a light there, and then that back corner is bright. When we pulled in, we've been chasing the Milky Way, and we were like, well, okay, let's just stop there. And we were hoping to get it with the And when we got there, Mike and I set up, and it was just, we were like, too much light pollution. You know, we're not going to
I
get
think you're right
squat.
about that too. You know, they in the video games they have all this like ray tracing where they can kind of like put an imaginary light source,
Right.
and you've got that light coming from the right side too, because you can see it casting the shadow of that.
Yeah, it's from behind us, right where we're standing.
Yeah,
There's
and
like a big parking light behind us.
and then also the way that porch lattice work sort of staggers down a little bit in that front corner, kind of gives it that sort of like torn, pixelated look, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get
Okay.
it now.
Yeah.
So that term is rendered. Is that?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
3D rendering, like Mark said, it looks 3D.
I absolutely can. I understand what you're saying. I absolutely get that now.
Yeah, it's just like all these little things are coming together to sort of make it have that effect.
Okay.
It's not a criticism, just an observation.
No. And I'm happy for you to say you don't like this shot.
No, I don't not like it.
Okay. No, really. Thank you. I was super tired when we took this one. That's funny.
Yeah, 4 a.m. I would hope so.
Yeah, this was an
Yeah.
all day after work and all night.
Oh, I love that. You guys can go after seeing all the work that you guys do, and I've seen so much of yours. This is so boring, by the way.
I love this one.
My
Oh, I
seal.
love this.
Me too.
Thank you. I love them. I love the sea oats. I love the clouds. We were at St. This was just the other day. Last weekend we were at St. George. And so we were looking up in the food, and I just got real low and just pointed and turned the camera up so that I could just enough to the bottom of the bushes there and get some clouds too.
Yeah. No, the exposure is very, very well done on this. The wisp clouds add this, but the top clouds, they just begin to have a real they're really separated in the background. And it's almost like I could touch them and hear the wind moving through the swaying back and forth. This is a very image. This is a very difficult image, by the way. This is what to consider on. So why don't we go ahead with Mike?
I love this kind of shot. I think the green trees to the right are factor. If they weren't in there, it would be a little cleaner. And then the only other thing I would say is bright in black and white. But I love it. Love the golden color, the flowering weeds there, the blue skies, just pleasing.
Yeah, this is an amazing, good image.
Good composition.
Thank you.
Michael stole my answer.
He's so bad about it.
I love the clouds. I love those clouds.
What are you going to say? Black and white?
Well, no, I like the color version, but I think it's worthy of trying in black and white too.
So what did I steal?
Oh, that's what you stole. And then you said something about the color, and I really liked your comment about the color, and it was said better than I would have said it.
Okay.
But in addition to your comments, I like the clouds. Do you know what else, Bobby, I like? Is I like that you didn't cut off any of the grasses.
Yes. All right. I suppose give me a shot.
This to me is works under KISS. You know, I've actually been looking for more of these photos where it's just a simple photo that's well composed. It's pleasing, postcard-esque type photos. We went back to St. George today. I wanted to shoot more of this, and I've always liked the sea oat. I've shot the sea oats. They were one of my first primary targets when I first started shooting, and so the sea oats to me are just beautiful. When you have a great sky like this was, it just. And we shot side by side this day, and I don't have this picture, so it sucks.
Yeah,
And
life's hard that way, man.
Yeah, yeah, and I don't have it after today either. So, Carl, you're back?
Yeah, I'll be back.
All right.
Gorgeous photo.
Thank you.
Nice contrasty colors all the way around. Clarity's great. Clouds, wispy clouds, and it would look good in black and white too. Color pops very well. Yeah, great photo. Looks like you got dirty doing it.
It's okay. It wipes off. It's just sand.
Yeah.
All right.
Pretty cool though.
Thank you.
All right. Let's see. We've only done one of Linda's.
Oh, how did that happen?
Oh,
Did we do any of Linda's yet?
Yeah, we did the factory, the pottery.
this is called. See here, if we go under view, and it's a guide. Clear the guide. Okay, and Linda, you can pick which one you want to do.
Let's talk about the fence.
All right. Where is it?
This is Grasslands National Park over in Saskatchewan, so it's a drive. I went there for July long weekend, and my sky was Florida skies the whole weekend, but I got up early and I was out there anyways, and I like this shot mostly because I cut out most of the sky.
Okay. This is a prairie?
Yeah.
Okay. I love the composition. You've centered the fence. They tell a story of times past. The exposure is wonderful. And the details great. I like the composition. Good leading lines. This is a very nice art. So let me send this to Bobby.
Bobby's gone.
How about I go? Bobby's trying to get back in on the computer. Oh, there she is. You back? It's your turn, honey. Your critique.
Oh, it's on me?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I absolutely love it. One of the things that I love about it is this part right, the two posts that are closest to us in the foreground there. The detail on that is so awesome. And I have to ask a question because I'm still learning. Is this the hyper focus, Jimmy? Is that what you were telling me about? Where it's kind of focused in on the two posts at the front.
Linda, did you use hyperfocal on this?
Hyperfocal.
I only vaguely know hyperfocal.
All right, so no, you probably focused here.
I wanted that to be my subject, so I did focus there.
Okay.
My aperture was, is anyone's guess?
Oh, I'm going to look it up. That's what I'm doing right now. F8. All right.
So that was a conscious choice then, because normally I shoot at f14.
Yeah.
Or my lens switched on, or my aperture switched on me.
How long of a lens did you use? Do you remember?
I think that would be 17 to 30.
Oh, okay. Well, see, the wide-angle lenses, Bobby, have a tendency to have a longer, deeper depth of field at lower apertures. So that's probably what we're seeing here at f8. Everything's just in focus. Okay. So back to you, Bobby.
I really do like it. I like the gold and the green, and I don't. There's not a lot going on in the sky, which is kind of, I guess, probably why you cropped it. I guess, so much that, but I really do. I just like the simplicity of the fence, and yet it's got a lot of texture at the same time. Great shot to me.
Thanks, Bobby.
Okay, Jimmy.
It is amazing to me in all the pictures I've seen of yours, Linda, how you consistently put in the detail that you get in. Even at F8 on this is an immense landscape. I'm willing to bet from here to the top of the hill behind the post is probably 1,000+ yards.
Oh, it's a long ways, yeah.
Yeah. So the fact that the detail that you have in the grass going up to the post, it's one of the things that always jumps out at me in your barn pictures. The grass has detail in it. There's texture and structure there. And so the subject is just situated in this field of texture and structure, which it's supposed to be. The line to me on the fence is nice. I like it. I like the steps and the dimension that the steps create going up to the sky. And I think you did a great job on the crop of the sky, because I think any more of just a bluebird day sky would have been distracting and taken away from the golds and the greens. But the blue helps balance it and add some stability that you know what you're looking at. And you've got such a great depth in this picture that it's a wonderful shot.
Thanks, James.
Well said, Jimmy. I don't know how long this was taken, but to me it looks like it's like the changes. You can see the change of seasons from spring into summer. No, from springtime to summertime.
Yep.
And it really shows. I remember a little lower than where you are, but seeing the plains for the first time, right against the Rocky Mountains looking east. And that's what it looks like. I mean, it's just miles and miles of that. And it's fascinating to look at. It's just nothing. Literally. It's like finding the wilderness. The fence appears too busy to me, but then again, you found it, and what are you going to do? Tear it down and rebuild it? So, but the leading lines in the fence work very well, to the horizontal of the landscape. No, I like it for the change of seasons.
So when you say too busy, do you mean the wires going in 8 million different directions?
Yeah, in the center of the picture.
Yeah.
But like I said, what are you going to do? Tear it out and rebuild it? So great picture.
Thank you.
Okay. And then Michael.
I think it would really have benefited if you used a tripod.
Yes.
No, I'm just. To me, it's great, Linda. I think the sky is just totally distracting.
Yeah.
If you could have got higher somehow and just shot maybe a little bit more down angle and completely eliminated the sky.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Since there was really nothing going on there anyway. But I love the choice of the wider aperture. I like how it falls off and gets blurry as it goes back. I think it really makes that first post pop, and you've got this shadow, which is not a cast shadow, but it's just a feature in the ground where that darker green grass and that sort of almost diagonal line on that first post, and then it's repeated on the second set of posts. You see what I'm saying?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I like that. I think that works well. And if you could just isolate that and maybe just remove the sky somehow by maybe getting a little higher, you wouldn't have to worry about the sky there.
So I ditched the tripod, but I need a ladder.
A Canon selfie stick.
Right, the selfie stick. No.
I often think that when I'm on the prairies, is I just want to be a little higher.
Well, you can carry a monopod and you can connect that 6B to your phone, so you can lift up the camera on the monopod and then just release the shutter with your camera.
Yeah, monopods have been looked up, but I think I might do better with a ladder.
You know, what do you drive? Do you have something, a car you can get on the top of?
No. Well, no. I wouldn't. I'm kind of scared of heights. First of all.
All right, Linda, this is lovely, and I think you got some great ideas. I agree with the sky, a higher angle, you know, but sometimes, you know, you can't do that. And everything's a compromise. You take what you can get. You guys, I think we're going to shut this down. We've done 2 of everybody. Have we gotten everybody 2 of?
Yep.
We've gone 2.5 hours. And we'll do another one this coming weekend as long as I'm not in the middle of a hurricane.
Sounds good.
All right. And I would still like to do a tutorial where we talk about selective noise reduction.
Yes, that'd be nice.
Okay. So
Yeah, I would love that.
I just recently started that, and also with the sharpening using the brush.
yeah, yep,
It's really wonderful.
yep. And I'll even go as far as doing an area selection, then feathering the edges. It's important you do that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
And then the Nick filter only works on the selected area. So, okay. Well, I appreciate your guys' patience in this tonight. Let me shut this down. Cancel.
Why did you pick the fence over that one, Linda?
I don't know. Did you have more to say about the barn? Should I have let you pick?
No, I just think there's a little bit more to talk about there.
You talked about the fence quite well.
There.
Is the barn?
Closer on the barn, but I have photos of the barn closer, so I was kind of playing with the
I
grass.
loved how the grass was blowing right at you.
Yeah, I was kind of playing with the blowing grass.
Okay.